All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about, most debated characters in literature, Maria, from Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls.
So, here's the big question that has split readers and critics for decades. Is Maria just a flat, underdeveloped love interest? Kind of passive? Or is she something way more important, like the actual symbolic heart of the entire novel? That's the core tension we're going to get into.
And to figure this out, we're going to use a framework called the Maria paradox. It's this idea that her character is doing two huge things at once, two things that seem to be in conflict, but are actually, you'll see, completely connected.
And here's what that paradox looks like, side by side. On one hand, you have Maria as this powerful ideological symbol. She stands for Spain, she embodies the trauma of the war, and she's a living justification for the cause. But on the other hand, she's what we're calling a biological force. She's all about life, renewal, and the future, and a story just drowning in death.
Okay, so let's tackle that first role, Maria as a symbol of a nation. This is where her character becomes this living, breathing stand-in for the bigger political conflict. And the parallels here are, wow, they're really direct. Her trauma isn't just a backstory detail, it's a mirror for the suffering of the entire Spanish people. The fact that her head was shaved, that symbolizes national humiliation, a loss of identity. And her gradual recovery, well, that offers this little glimmer of hope that Spain itself could one day recover.
And this is absolutely crucial. Maria makes the war feel real. Because of her, the fight isn't just about abstract ideas or political arguments anymore. It's about protecting a real person, a real life. She is the emotional why behind the entire struggle.
So now let's flip to the other side of this paradox. We're moving away from the political and into something deeply, deeply personal. Maria as a force for life.
You have to remember, this is a book that's just saturated with death and sacrifice and destruction. And right in the middle of all that, there's Maria. She stands for the total opposite. She represents renewal, fertility, and the simple, stubborn fact that life goes on even in the worst of times.
You know, their love affair, as intense and physical as it is, becomes this incredible act of defiance. It's this beautiful bright spot against the darkness of the war. It's a statement that the human body and human experience matter. And for Jordan, it gives him a very real, very tangible reason to cherish the life he's about to give up.
Okay, but this is where it all comes together. We've seen her as a political symbol, and we've seen her as this life force. But are those two roles really separate? Or is there something deeper connecting them?
And the answer is no. They're not separate at all. This is where the paradox just clicks into place. These two halves make a whole, and it's that fusion that makes her character so unforgettable.
Just think about it for a second. The political becomes physical on her body. The idea of political violence isn't some abstract concept. You can literally see its marks on her. Politics becomes real, something you can touch through her experience.
And it flows the other way too. Her role as a life force, her ability to love, gives a deeply human purpose to all the political action. Suddenly, Jordan isn't just fighting for a cause, he's fighting for a future with her.
So in the end, she really is everything to Jordan. That final sacrifice he makes, it's not just for the Republic. It's an act of love for her. She is the personal, emotional core of his entire political belief system.
So why are we still talking about a character from a novel written so long ago? Because what she represents is timeless. She shows us that you can't ever really separate your personal life from the political world around you.
Now look, it's totally fair to look at Maria today and critique her for being passive. I mean, her character is largely defined by her relationship with Jordan. But there's another way to see it. What if that passivity isn't a flaw? What if it's a really realistic result of the horrific trauma she endured? From that point of view, finding intimacy and connection isn't a weakness. It's a powerful way to resist being dehumanized. It's an act of survival.
And that's really the big takeaway here. The character of Maria is a masterclass in showing how our most private experiences, things like love and trauma and healing, are completely, totally tangled up with our political realities. You just can't understand one without the other.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. How does love change things? How does it take an abstract idea, like a duty to a cause, and transform it into an unbreakable commitment to a single person? And what is the real cost of that transformation? Thanks for joining me.